All right, so in this video, you'll have access to a private training that I put together for our clients around the psychology behind effectively doing DM messaging with leads, building relationships with them, communicating with them, understanding their current situation, and asking specific questions so that the next logical step in the conversational journey is to hop on a sales call. So that's exactly what I dive into here. I provide different mental models, frameworks, specific scripts, questions to ask, what to do when people don't respond to you, how to build the relationship, the whole lot. So if you want access to the document that I'm going over here, just message me on Instagram, DM me the word script, and I'll flick it through to you. What is up, guys? Hope you are all doing well. I'm sitting here with a freshly made coffee, just about to take you through this SOP, this DM messaging SOP, and it is an absolute banger. This is really going to help. You'll have access to this sheet, but it's really going to help with understanding the psychology behind connecting with people through DMs, understanding their current situation, but also building the relationship and getting to the point where it makes sense to book a call. That's the goal with doing the DM outreach and messaging. But if for whatever reason a call doesn't make sense, still building that relationship in the meantime. So I've got, I think, like 17 pages of templates and just frameworks and mental models that you can use to understand how to do this effectively. So I'm going to dive into this here. First thing I want to highlight is what a lead is. So oftentimes people think a lead is someone who has opted into like a lead magnet. That's not always the case. I consider a lead anyone who engages with your content. So these can be followers, likes, comments, story interactions on polls, sliders, replies, people who DM you, people who click on your link in bio, anything. Anyone that interacts with you is worth reaching out to. Not to just jump down their throat and pitch your product. That's not what I'm meaning. I'm meaning to just build the relationship or to understand their current situation more. So a key thing that you have to keep in mind is speed to lead. And this is a massive factor in the effectiveness of booking calls, because when you respond to someone under 2 minutes, it increases the conversion rates by 391%. That is absolutely insane. So just keep on top of it. What I do is I turn off all of my screen blocking apps, do not disturb on your lead channels, because I really don't like getting notifications. They're annoying, but it's a smart business decision to keep the notifications on for potential leads, right? So just keep that in mind, but speed to lead is key. Otherwise, if they go cold, you're going to get a low response. The online space is just too noisy. So just keep at it and get onto them early. Now, setting mindset. So this is a DM setting SOP, and setting means just to set booked calls, right? But what you want to do is have the right process of uncovering the reason to jump on the call. You don't want to waste their time. You don't want to waste your time. So you have to have the mindset of a doctor. And this gives you what you want to do is you want to prescribe through understanding the symptoms. So a doctor doesn't just say, hey, here's some medication, just take this, hopefully you'll be all right. They ask questions to diagnose and through understanding the symptoms. So that's the mindset that you want to have, is diagnosing through understanding and getting clear on the symptoms. So slow down to speed up. Another key mindset that you have to have in this mindset section here is just being natural. One of the overarching frameworks that you can keep in mind is just DBW. Don't be weird. Just don't be weird. Don't sound robotic. Don't sound scripted. Use your natural slang. The best mindset to have is to be genuinely curious about this person's situation. Like, not fake curiosity. Genuinely curious. Find things, or have your mind fixed on helping this person and leading with the heart to see if you can help them, right? So keep that in mind. Just be natural. Use your slang. Use your intuition to guide the conversation in the right direction. I've got some scripts that I'm going to go over here in just a second, but don't feel that you're stuck to the script. Be fluid, okay? Now, another key mindset that you have to have or practice that you have to use is always ending in questions. Always finish your statements with a question. Otherwise, it's just naturally going to end and the conversation will die off. So just keep that in mind. Next thing is optimizing your profile. So you want to have a clear front-facing photo of yourself, and if you can, invest in a verified badge. It's crazy that you can just buy the blue tick now, but it helps so much. I've bought it recently and my followers are going up, my response rate is going up. So definitely invest in it, because in the DM section of Instagram, your name is going to stand out. If you've got like a scammy picture or just not a clear picture, a random name and no blue tick, you're just going to get looked over. So just build that authority through investing into a clear photo and a verified badge, if it makes sense. And all right, so now we're going to go more so into like the framework that we're following with doing this these messages. So what we want to do, also just, you don't want to bombard them with questions. You don't want to go extremely deep. You just want to have enough information to justify hopping on a call. And you'll use your intuition, and this is going to be a common theme, is using your intuition through the process of chatting to figure out if it feels right to offer hopping on a call. If you notice that it's getting a little bit deep, say, hey, let's just continue this conversation over a call, and then you can go straight into that. But really what we're trying to do here is there's 3 things that we're wanting to uncover. Firstly is understanding their current situation. So ask open-ended questions to identify the core problem. What we're wanting to uncover here, and I've got questions for each of these stages in just a second, but this is the framework that I would love for you to install to understand how you're navigating these conversations. But firstly, it's uncovering what is going on right now, how long they've been dealing with this, what impact or frustration is this problem causing. So that's the first stage. It's where they're at and what problems they're currently facing. Secondly, we want to figure out where they want to go. So find out what they actually want, ask about goals, outcomes, and changes that they're aiming for. What we're wanting to uncover here is the vision for their ideal state, tangible goals, results that they're after, what success would look like for them. And then the third stage here is figuring out what is stopping them from getting that outcome. So in between step 1 and step 2, like this section right here, right here, there's some resistance. What is that? What is stopping them from getting their outcomes right now? That's what we want to figure out. So uncover what they feel is holding them back, what they've already tried, what makes it difficult to fix on their own. So you can ask things about internal blocks, confusion, lack of support, past failures, all these different things. And that will give you a really good framework to follow through your question and probing of where they're at, where they wanted to go, and what's stopping them. Next, I'm going to go into some scripts here. So this is more tactical. And if you just want to open this SOP and dive straight to the scripts, what you can do is just click here, go scripts and templates, and it'll take you straight down to it. So icebreakers, there's going to be different icebreakers that you can have based off the interaction that based off how they've interacted with you. So firstly, if they DM you from the bio, within 2 minutes, say, hey name, hey bro, hey girl, whatever you use. It's great to connect. What was it that prompted you to reach out? Very open-ended and not really specific. It's just a fair question. If they're a new follower, say, hey name, it's great to connect. Just out of curiosity, what stood out on my page? If they commented on your post or a call to action, hey name, just saw you commented on my post about content topic. What was it that stood out for you? If they liked a post, then say, hey name, I noticed you interacted with some of my content and thought to reach out. Are you currently insert niche? Or what you can use is, hey name, I noticed you interacted with some of my content and thought to reach out. Just out of curiosity, what's your experience been with content topic, whatever they interacted with? If they interacted with a story, so this could be a slider or a poll or something along those lines, say, hey name, I noticed you insert action that they did on my story about story topic. I'm curious, what was it about? And then question related to that story. If they DM you from a VSL ad, so VSL is like the free training or the lead magnet that you have. If you're running ads, this is a really good question to ask to instead of just sending the free training to them without understanding their current situation. This is a good way to still get an understanding of where they're at. Great to connect name. I have a few trainings depending on where you're at. Do you mind if I ask a couple questions to send you the best fit? So now we can get back into questioning instead of just flicking through the free training. And we're going to send through the free training after we ask them a few questions, right? If it is an automated response, so when you do run VSL ads, you can have like an automated response. I would say the exact same thing here, but just keep it in that it is automated, because You can tell that it's automated. Like it responds instantly, so it's obviously automated. I think it's weird to not highlight the fact that it's automated. Just say it. I feel like that just makes sense. All right, now conversational responses. So when they respond to one of these icebreakers, there's a few different things that you can do. So if they respond, move forward. If not, you can go down here to bumping messages and you'll be able to know how to bump messages effectively, but I won't go into that right now. So every time someone responds, you always want to use acknowledgements. And this is when a lead responds, use phrases like this to keep the conversation flowing and build rapport naturally. So it's kind of like a bridge, right? Where you acknowledge what they've said. So you can use words like got it, that makes sense, or makes sense, I hear you, nice, yeah, feel that, totally, appreciate that, love the transparency, thanks for sharing. All of these things that acknowledge what they've just said. Otherwise, you're just going to go down the path of just drilling questions at them, and it's going to feel very interrogative, right? I just had a delivery driver at the door, so I had to jump out quickly. But yeah, so once they respond, always have a connector or an acknowledgement, and then go into your discovery questions. So through this process, use your intuition to ask the questions that feel relevant. Don't ask them like a checklist. You might only have to ask one at each stage. So you're not just asking all of these questions, just choose which one fits the conversation. Your goal here is to build rapport and highlight enough pain/desire to justify booking on a call, and just feel into it. You'll feel when it makes sense. So yeah, following these steps again is firstly where they're at now. So understanding their current situation/pain, using questions like out of curiosity, what's your current situation with niche/problem? What are you doing for work at the moment? How are you finding topic/niche at the moment? Are you happy with how you're progressing in niche/problem? What's been the biggest challenge for you in niche/problem lately? How long have you been dealing with specific pain point? What does a typical week look like for you when it comes to problem? How is problem showing up for you? Is problem showing up for you in other areas of your life? Do you feel like problem is more a recent thing, or has it been around for a while? So this is really good probing questions that you can fill in to be able to identify someone's current situation. Next is understanding where they want to go. So what are you hoping to achieve with problem/niche? What does your dream desired outcome look like? For example, it could be your dream physique, your dream relationship, your dream business, these things, right? Where do you want things to be in the next 3 to 6 months when it comes to topic or problem or niche? What would success look like for you in niche/problem? What's the big goal you're working towards right now in area? If you fix the problem, how would that change things for you? Great. So that's understanding where they're wanting to go. Then what's getting in the way? So uncovering blocks, barriers, and past attempts. What do you feel is holding you back from getting there? What have you done in the past to get desired outcome? What's been the hardest part about trying to solve problem on your own? Have you tried anything already to work on problem? How did that go? What tends to get in the way when you try to make progress in area? Do you feel it's more about internal block, confusion, lack of structure, or something else, right? And this, just off the back of this, using like almost double binds, like is it this or this, helps navigate the conversation as well and direct the conversation. So you want to be fluid again with like open-ended questions, but if it's getting too loose, maybe just reel it in by giving them 2 options, right? So that can help. And then through this process, we've gone through the 3 steps or the 3 stages. Do a loop check. If they respond admitting that they have a challenge and they're struggling to fix, move forward. If not, loop here. And naturally, people are going to be more closed off, especially if you're running ads to your page and you don't really know this person and they don't know you. So use your intuition to get them to open up. Challenge flawed logic lightly and lead with genuine curiosity. So what I mean by challenge flawed logic is if someone's using, they have the mindset of my mind is fixed, or I've always been this way, this is just the way it is. Some of these things, just politely challenge them. And ask if you can share a different perspective on their way of thinking, these type of things, right? So you don't want, just challenge the flawed logic lightly. Okay, so now what we're doing here, and this is one of my favorite parts, this is where you get to provide perspective and build authority. So the goal is to build on top of what they've already said by demonstrating expertise in how you can help them by providing feedback. So first, what you want to do is ask for permission. Always invite them into the conversation before sharing a perspective, because you don't really have the right to just give them perspective. You're not that person yet. Always ask if you can share that perspective to them. So how you do that is something like this. I've worked with a lot of people who have similar situation that they've mentioned. Do you mind if I share a perspective on that? Would it be okay if I gave you a perspective from what I've seen with others in your situation? If you don't have clients or you haven't had past results just yet, you can still share your perspective like this. That reminds me a lot of myself. Do you mind if I share a perspective on what I did? So that's how you can get around that. For example, I've worked with dozens of leaders under pressure. Do you mind if I give you my perspective? Perfect. Once they say yes and go for it or go ahead, sure, these things, then you can move into step 2, which is highlighting their problem, but introducing a deeper problem. So this is where you really amplify your authority, because you're highlighting to them, yes, they've got these problems, but that's not the real problem. The real problem is something deeper, and you can discover what that deeper problem is through your expertise. It's obvious. It's usually the thing that your mechanism is solving, right? So it's this deeper problem that your mechanism uses to solve. So I'll go into some examples here of what I mean by this, but how you do this is you say, what I've noticed is it's not always just a surface level problem. It's often also a deeper level problem. And because you're highlighting that, yes, there's this surface level way, but there's this deeper way, this deeper problem, it boosts your authority. And I hope that you can feel that. So a lot of people think it's about surface level problem, but usually the bigger challenge is this. Can you see how that builds your authority? It's highlighting that that's not the real problem. This is the real problem. Kind of gives you that expertise. So an example of this is a lot of people think it's about managing stress, but usually the bigger challenge is the constant negative self-talk that drives the stress in the first place. So that gives you the credibility. Now we want to justify what we've said. And the best way to justify something is to have it rooted in truth. And you can use like statistics, case studies, logic, these things that are just obviously true. And I'm going to go into an example of this here in just a second. But back up your perspective by saying something real using belief shifting statements. So in NLP, there is belief shifting statements, and beliefs have sentence structures. So if we can match the sentence structures of how beliefs are formed in everyone's mind, then we can build a belief. So beliefs usually follow a cause-effect structure. So there's a cause and then there's effect. And they use words like because, meaning, which makes, allowing, causing, these type of words that are kind of like validating the cause. They're like the bridge. And I'll go into what this looks like here. So for example, because without daily reinforcement, thoughts don't rewire into habits, meaning change never sticks. So you can see here how this is like the cause. Without daily reinforcement, thoughts don't rewire into habit, which means change never sticks. And because you say means, this means that, this kind of just bypasses and is accepted. You kind of just accept that change never sticks because I've given a reason as to why change never sticks. So that is how beliefs are structured. Because without daily reinforcement, thoughts don't rewire into habits, meaning change never sticks. And that meaning change never sticks is just accepted because there's a reason before it. So I could say for you guys who's watching this training, that because you are watching this training, that means that you value your personal growth. You kind of just agree with that because I've given a reason as to why you're here and that you value your personal growth. So I could say anything random and it would still be almost accepted, right? It's got to make sense. It's got to be based in truth, but it bypasses any resistance. And this helps with boosting your credibility, but also shifting beliefs. So we always want to check back, use words like, or phrases like, does that make sense? And if you do this right, they'll naturally start to ask more questions. And then that then leads to justifying booking a call. And then you can continue the conversation on a call. Because if they're just asking questions, let's just say, you can just say, hey, this is what I'm thinking we could do, and I'd love to get your perspective on this, is we can just continue this conversation over a call, dig a little bit deeper to see how this can fit into, or I can give you deeper level insights on how you can solve XYZ problem, right? So those type of questions or those belief statements really help with then getting people curious and engaged. So if they just say something like, yeah, makes sense, or yeah, cool, these random things, that's okay as well. Then what you can still say is still transition to a call. So something along the lines of, great, well, instead of keeping this surface level, we could continue this conversation over a Zoom where I can give you specific insights on how we help niche go from similar situation that they're experiencing to desired situation that they're wanting to get. And if this program's not a fit, we can just stay in each other's circle. Either way, you'll leave with a better understanding of how to achieve the specific outcome that they mentioned. Does that work on your end? So very non-detached, there's no obligation. It kind of makes sense for them to want to hop on the call to explore it further. It's very specific to their situation and their goals. But I'm also not assuming that they want to. That's why I'm using words like could, like we could continue this conversation over a Zoom, and those type of things. So that can really help. And then once they say yes, you want to complete the booking. So once the lead agrees to a call, your job is to make scheduling fast, easy, and locked in. So this is key. Always offer multiple times. Always offer multiple times so that you put yourself in the best position possible for a time to match their schedule. Otherwise, if there's just more back and forth, it's just more unnecessary resistance. So offer 2 to 3 times. Does Monday at 4 p.m. or Wednesday at 10 a.m. work better? Right? Gives them that double bind again. So try not to book them 72 hours out as well, because that's when the momentum is lost. The online's just very noisy and they could get consumed by the noise and just forget about it. So try not to, but obviously, some people might be going away, or it might be a Friday and they don't want to do it on the weekend. Just play around with it. There's ways around it. So once they confirm, say, perfect, what's your email and phone number? I'll create an invite. That way now we've secured the lead and their details. They can be in our database now. Just send through the invite. All right, I've sent through the invite. Has that came through okay? Perfect, done. If you're, so what you want to do then is send them through some assets that will help nurture and pre-sell them. This can be case studies, VSLs, testimonials, things that you've posted. Get them to check it out before the call. So here's some things that you can check out before the call. It'll give you a better feel on how we help niche. Then after you do that, just have some reminder messages. So if you have booked the call more than 72 hours out, just send this either 1 to 2 days before. Curious what you think about content that I sent over, right? So that's just another touch point. We want to keep that momentum and not just go ghost for 72 hours and just hope that they're going to hop on a call. Always say, hey, we're still good for tomorrow, the day before, and then the day of, you can even say, awesome, or respond to their message and say, great, talk soon. So don't respond to that message that you sent the day before on the same day. Just leave that and just respond the next day or the day of the call and say, great, talk soon. Another touch point without saying, hey, just a reminder, right? Okay, so now what we want to go into is bumping messages. Naturally, people are just not going to respond and we just want to re-engage the conversation. The best way to do this is to pattern interrupt, is to have a pattern interrupt that sparks curiosity in their inbox preview so that it gets them to open. So you know how you can see the first, handful of characters on an inbox? We want to maximize that. We don't just want to dive straight in and say, hey, just bump in this. Hey, did you see this? These things, we can do that later. We want to get them re-engaged naturally without being salesy. So do a warm-up first and just interact with some of their content, reply to their story, mention something that you liked, show genuine curiosity and build this relationship. So you can say things like, saw your post on X, I like the point you made about specific thing, right? So you just use these type of prompts to push your name back to the top of their inbox, but also for them to see that you're coming from a different angle, Then we can use pattern interrupt follow-up. So this can be 6 to 12 hours after, there's no response. Just start the opening with something casual or unexpected or slightly off topic or something that just creates curiosity. So using the start of sentences like also quick question, pattern interrupt. I noticed specific thing about their page or profile. This might be a stretch, but pattern interrupt. This might sound random, but another pattern interrupt, just saw your, and then observation about them on their profile. These are things that you can use to help them open the conversation back up. It can go a little bit off field, left center, that's okay. Just get them back re-engaged, build the relationship, and then reel it back in. All right, last resort is when you can then use responses like bumping this, just getting this to the top of your inbox. Do this 24 to 48 hours out. And then we also, if they still don't respond for whatever reason, just keep the relationship and nurture it by sending them things. So sometimes the best way to re-engage is just to go off the train of thinking of, getting their pains, their desires, what's stopping them, these things, and just build the relationship with someone and share things that you think that they would enjoy. So thought you might enjoy this. I made a short piece I made a piece of content on topic, and ideally you want it to be relevant to the situation that they're in. For example, just recorded this on the problem that they mentioned, figured it might be relevant for you. This reminded me of our chat about problem/desire, thought I'd pass it along. Not asking any questions, So now we're kind of okay with being a bit more detached. And, even after this, if you want to, you could say, hey, what was your thoughts? Did you get around to this? But some people just might not want to chat. So use your intuition, keep on top of leads. Don't feel like you're annoying them, but because you know that you can genuinely help them, especially if they've gone through a bit of the conversation and there's clear pains, clear desires, clear things stopping them, and they haven't responded. Keep on them. I would say just follow up 3-4 times within the span of a week, using these different types of bumps, not just, hey, did you see this? Hey, did you see this? Hey, did you see this? Come from different angles, add value, build the relationship, spark curiosity, these things, and you'll be good to go. So yeah, hopefully you found value in this. You'll have access to this SOP. Use this to guide your conversations, and yeah, let me know how you go.